Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I want to do a follow-up to the video that I did giving my impressions of this season of anime. I sort of did some initial impressions, so I want to give you guys my final thoughts on the shows that I ended up watching here. So I'm just going to go through the list. We have, I guess the first one I tried out was Engaged to the Unidentified. And I know last time I was saying, I was curious to know where this was going. I was enjoying it a lot, and that didn't stop throughout the whole series. And I think what helped it out was that it was a little bit self-aware. I think there were some times when it would kind of break the fourth wall, and Benio, this character here, would she would go, oh, this is becoming too much of a romantic comedy, and she would start doing this like little like sister crazed shtick where she was, and these are both, so this is her little sister and this is her little sister-in-law, and she was kind of the comic relief. Not that the rest of the cast isn't funny, especially the younger sister-in-law here is really funny too. So the two of them, I think, really keep this series going. For me, I really had fun with it. I looked forward to watching it every week when a new episode came out, and I really enjoyed the characters, and the story was just cute and funny. It was definitely an enjoyable show to watch. I mentioned Folktales from Japan before. Also, I haven't started watching that again, but I did watch some. I don't remember last time if I talked about Golden Time, if I'd watched any of that. It's one of the series I tried out, and I didn't like it enough to keep watching it. Certainly maybe it's worth giving another chance, but with so many other things to watch, I just didn't really like the way it was starting out. It was just kind of uncomfortable for me to watch and just not all that interesting. You basically have these two students. They're new students at this law school in Tokyo. Kind of freshmen. They're starting their school life out, and one of them is like, yeah, why did you come here to go to school? And he's like, I basically just wanted to get away from this girl who was crazy about me. And she ends up, of course, like stalking him to the school. Like, she's completely insane. And I think, though, just from the intro and the way that it portrays it, it's like they're kind of going to where the other guy that she isn't going nuts over, like her and he end up in a relationship together, seems to be the implication. But really just the characters, like her character, I'm like, if the two of them get together, I mean, I'm sure is there some redemption for her later in the series, but I wasn't interested in getting there. I was like, it's just the comedy, if that's what it is, it just wasn't doing it for me. But yeah, haven't really been watching Hunter x Hunter. That's been going on forever. Um, Kill la Kill definitely is still good, but I actually kind of petered out on it. I don't know how far I got, but it was into this season, and I just haven't gone back to it yet. I know I will, without a doubt. It's been good all along, but I think it's like kind of a dry spell. So I think I'm just gonna need to get through that, and hopefully it doesn't just go downhill from here. But I can't imagine that it will. I think it's just it's in kind of a slow bit, so I haven't really dove into that again. But so this is the other one I wanted to talk in my first video that I might check out Kuroko's basketball, just to to not be closed-minded and to try out a sports anime series. And there seemed to be some buzz around it, and it honestly, it was mentioned in Watamote, which it was part of the reason why I knew it was sort of in the general sort of pop culture consciousness of Japanese anime watchers anyway. So I wanted to check it out. So I watched the first couple episodes, and boy, did I get hooked. Like, I just kept watching. It was great. It's a typical shonen show. It's Naruto, it's Bleach, it's any of that kind of stuff. It's not. I think it walks a good sort of walks that line between being cheesy and maybe too comic booky, and being dealing with kind of a realistic thing, which is just high school basketball, pretty well. Definitely, as a shonen show, like I just expect it to be a little off the wall and exaggerated is the word I'm looking for. One of the things I really appreciated is there's a female coach for the team, and she's like a student as well. Um, and somehow like that, I don't know. I think like when I think of a show like this, I'm like, oh man, it's like men's basketball. It's just sort of like it's just kind of a sausage fest. There's just a little too much testosterone. So like having her in the mix, I think is really good for the series. And there are a couple other female characters that show up that honestly like they kind of provide some comic relief a little bit. Definitely some comedy. Definitely like some kind of love interests and stuff like that. But mostly, I think the show is paced pretty well to put some just a little bit of humor and some things in it to break it up. If anything, if I have any criticisms, I would almost say they spend a little bit too much time playing basketball. Which is funny because a lot of other series you'd have the opposite complaint. They spend too much time messing around with something silly. In this, they're right in the games a lot, and the games don't take too long either. They're like usually 1 to 3 episodes. Which is good. I'm glad that they don't drag it out a whole lot, but I wanted almost a little more of the in-between games, getting to know the characters, having funny moments, and there's definitely enough of that, but maybe just once or twice where it felt like they were sort of missing the opportunity for a little bit more of that kind of thing. But I really loved it. I've watched all 50 episodes that are out. I know it says 51, but I think that's just like a preview or something. So I like that. I haven't checked any of these out. I haven't even watched the new Monogatari series. I haven't checked out Mushishi, although people have recommended that to me. Nisekoi was another one that I was watching, and I was right to stick with this one. I was right to sort of look at it and say, okay, it's Shaft, and I liked the theme song, and to kind of give it a go. It was really worth it. And this is one of those ones. It's up to episode 13, but it's kind of like nothing's really been resolved. So I don't know if they're going to keep going with more episodes or if that's kind of all we get for now. It basically is, it's that classic sort of love hina story where the guy makes a promise to a girl when they're kids to get married, and then he forgets what the girl's face is, and he only has this locket to remember her by, and so he wants to find the girl with the key to open this locket. And along with that, he's also has a big crush on one of the girls in his class. And I think I explained this before. This happens in the first episode. He ends up having to pretend to be the boyfriend of this girl here, who he doesn't like at all. So the fun thing about this series is that it's essentially this love triangle that you can clearly see the best possible outcome for it. This girl doesn't really like him. He doesn't really like her, but he's crushing on this girl together with her. Her name is Onodera is her that's her family name. So Onodera is the girl that he has this huge crush on. But the clever thing that this story does, I think, is it keeps just sort of tweaking and pushing just a little bit, just enough to keep the tension there, to keep the story moving forward. Seems like they have a cliffhanger essentially at the end of each episode related to that, and somehow they did a really good job where you just want to see the next episode every week. So I really kept up with Nisekoi and actually liked it quite a bit. I'd definitely recommend that if you're looking for a romantic comedy. I think that one's really great. I didn't try out Nobunaga the Fool at all. I watched some other people on YouTube talking about it, and it seemed like worth checking out, but I haven't looked at it yet. Nobunaga, and I'm still watching. I'm up to episode 9, I think, and this has been great too. I've been enjoying it. I think at least so far. From what I would say is, if you like the first couple episodes, I haven't been disappointed with any of the ones after that. It really has a feeling, I think, of kind of like Eva mixed with Gunbuster, but with like a little bit less of that Gainax sort of Anno, early I don't know, just weird angstiness and psychoanalysis and stuff like that. It's just a little more straightforward and fun. It's action and comedy, and that's it. But it's kind of crazy, fighting against these aliens from the ocean and stuff. And I've been enjoying it a lot so far. So that one's pretty cool. Obviously, I guess maybe not enough to like dive in and finish those last few episodes, but I definitely plan to soon. Um, One-chan ga Kita, I think I was saying, in the last video that I was like, I hadn't really put it in my queue, and I think I watched another couple episodes, and it just wasn't doing anything for me. Pupa, I did check out. What I will say about this is that I'm glad, that people are making series like this. I'm glad they can. I'm glad it's out there, and depending on my mood and maybe my age even or something, I could see myself being more into this. When I watched it though, I watched, gosh, the first two episodes, maybe three, um, and it's dark. It's the right word for it is grotesque. Is what it is. So like if you're if you're gonna watch this at all, just expect it to be completely grotesque. It's about like people kind of like transforming physically like into monsters, and like just this sort of like terrible like psychological torture, physical torture. Like it's really it's it put me in a really like dark place, like bad mood kind of after watching this, and I was like, I just can't. I don't have the emotional like fortitude to watch something like this right now. Um, but it's not to say that I don't like this sort of thing. It was way too much for me at the time, and I don't think that I'm gonna go back and watch this honestly. But if that sounds like your bag, I would say give it a whirl. But just expect it to be grotesque and not pleasant to watch. And this, recently my sister's Unusual. My opinion hasn't changed, and I just haven't watched anymore since I talked about it last time. It didn't do it for me. I just thought it was not all that interesting. Um, yeah, so some of my favorite shows really um, are right here in a row. The same ones that I was starting off with earlier. I didn't dive into a lot of new stuff that I hadn't started previously, aside from the ones I've talked about, especially Kuroko's Basketball. That one really grabbed me. Sakura Trick, though, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Um, like I was saying before, it's a kind of a Yuri series. These two girls, basically are having a relationship in high school, and at first I was just like, this seems interesting, and I was like, I'm gonna give this a try, but I wasn't quite sure what to make of it at first, and after having watched the whole thing, like I looked forward every week to watching this, and it was such a nice, just sort of sweet like show to watch. Like every episode, it's kind of heartwarming, I guess. I really liked them. Um, you kind of end up just falling in love with these two characters and just rooting for them to like um to just like have this relationship, and it's even interesting too, like kind of the way the characters grow a little bit. I think one of my main sticking points was this character here. I actually didn't really like her very much, and I don't know if she even really grew on me, but I think like I just kind of got used to her. Um, because honestly, like she's just like a little selfish and a little bratty, but she's kind of, I guess she feels a little like tsundere, like and I guess it's just really cute when she's like a little less honest about her feelings, I suppose. So it's kind of fun when she sort of opens up and really I don't know, like she's kind of vulnerable with Haruka, and there's some really funny stuff. It's a really good show. I'd recommend you check that out if that seems interesting at all. Um, And I'd love to see some more of this. Honestly, the ending I thought was good too. Like it was just good. Seitokai, did I get that right? Yeah. Yakuin Domo. This continued to be funny. You can see my first video for kind of my description of it. But it's essentially like just a bunch of dirty jokes, and it just kept being a bunch of dirty jokes, and it was really really great. If you think that that sounds funny, it's I think it comes maybe from like a four koma. I could be wrong, but like a four panel manga. If it's not, it's from a manga anyway, and it has that kind of feeling where it's like these just sort of not rapid fire, but sort of like these little gags, and they're just a lot of fun. So I enjoyed watching that one, and still I would say Soniani, the Sonico, uh, Super Sonico the animation was really good. I would say out of all of these, I mean, and I haven't talked about maybe just one or two more, but when I was first starting, this was right up there with my favorite shows, and it still is. You're not expecting much from this, and not only that, but I mean, her character design and her whole appeal, just sort of seems like, oh, she's like this ditzy big boobed girl, and you're like, oh, this is this isn't going to go anywhere good, but it's couldn't be further from that, I think. Like I was saying originally, like just the charm of her character, I think, just her hardworkingness, and like she's just that typical, I guess, like cute, earnest, kind of innocent character. I don't know, maybe it's kind of an ideal of some of these like anime like heroines. But like this character, the way they wrote it really pulls it off. What I found as I was watching the episodes is like, if an episode seemed to be going in a weird direction, you could pretty much count on these writers to bring it back around and make it something satisfying and make it something, a little touching or a little funny. Um, it's just obvious that the people that made this, like, they're really talented with great senses of humor and a great sense of just sort of pacing and storytelling, and it was just good all the way throughout all 12 episodes of it. So another one that it would be nice if they made some more of. I don't know exactly what's going on with it. um, Tonari no Seki-kun is still awesome too. It seems like they're keeping going with this. So it got up to episode 12 or 13 is normally where these would stop, and this is right up to episode 15. So it's still funny. The latest episode they made a Attack on Titan reference, like it's kind of an Attack on Titan episode. It's really cool. Um, I didn't try any more of Wake Up Girls, and I didn't start World Conquest Zvezda plot, even though I was considering watching some of that. I did start Wonder Momo, which is not really good so far, but I would also say it's not really bad. It's I don't know exactly where it's going. I think I'll probably keep watching a few episodes. They're short. They're not quite those 5-minute episodes like Seki-kun is. They're more like, I don't know, 10-minute episodes, I think. Maybe a little less. It's a weird length, but anyway, they're short episodes. But it's alright. I mean, it's, if you guys know the video game from Namco, Wonder Momo, it's like that character, but it's sort of, spoofing on like Sentai shows like transforming Power Rangers kind of things, which I think the original Wonder Momo was too, so, it's alright. Um, and I watched the first episode of Wizard Barristers, and I feel pretty bad that I haven't watched the second episode yet. But honestly, it was right before I started Kuroko's basketball. Wizard Barristers seems really good. It reminds me of the '90s. I don't know what it is like, that defines that about this. But I think some of it is, I forget who the character designer is. I think he's probably the character designer and the director, or character designer and the writer. But he worked on stuff in the '90s like Kite and Mezzoforte and stuff like that. You'll recognize his character designs. And something about seeing this was just kind of nostalgic, and it also has that feeling of those shows, I think, from that time. It's just, an interesting-ish premise. There are magic users. This character is actually she's like a a lawyer essentially for um, like magic user cases, like kind of specializing in that. So it's a really interesting premise, and I just the way that it is sort of set up is just kind of nostalgic for me in a way. So I'm curious to see where this series goes. I haven't really watched much more of it yet, but anyway, that's that. And I think my final impressions are really that mostly, I guess, taking a chance. For me, stepping out of my comfort zone on Kuroko's basketball really got me thinking. Just that, if you look at this whole season, I mean, I really only end up queuing up enough series to kind of fill my week up with about an episode or so a day to watch. So you're talking, maybe 7 series is usually, fairly sufficient. And any more than that, and I think it, depending on how much you watch a day, it ends up feeling a little overwhelming, or at least I just don't start, looking for new stuff. So my main takeaway from trying out Kuroko's basketball is that a lot of these series that I'm not watching are probably good. Not necessarily all of them. Like I didn't like Golden Time all that much. I'm not going to keep watching Pupa, um, stuff like that. But I bet you some of these other things, that I just didn't try. I mean, Samurai Flamenco, I have no idea. That could be good. Strike the Blood, I've heard some good stuff about that. It's like any of these things. Space Brothers, Strange Plus, I have no idea. I haven't even tried them out. So, chances are fun to watch. So I guess my takeaway is if I can stomach watching more anime, like it might be worth trying out more new series, and especially not writing something off just because it's Yowamushi Pedal, and I figure how interesting could a show about bicycling be? Is that what this is? I don't even know. But just if just not even if something looks good, like maybe just every season taking a chance on a few series, chances are, I'll probably be pleasantly surprised, and if you guys do the same, you probably will too. So anyway, that's all. I hope that you guys appreciated my thoughts on the series from this season. Um, if you guys like this, or I mean, if I like doing it, I might do the same thing each season. Just give my general impressions and what kind of stuff I've been watching and that kind of thing. So I hope you're looking forward to that, and I hope you'll join me again for some more video game related videos. I will do some video game stuff here coming up soon. So that's all. Thanks for watching.